Nicole, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good, good, good. Welcome to Let's Talk About It, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you at, streaming platform. It's the Let's Talk About It show. I'm happy you're here.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
of course, of course. So where you from, Nicole?
I am from New York City.
Okay, okay.
I'm from Harlem.
Harlem, okay. Brooklyn, so we a little bit better,
Oh no, that's not gonna, that's not it.
right? All good, all good. So my Harlem days, I remember the Grant's Tomb and all that good stuff.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm dating myself, but those are the days I had like my Gore-Tex and all that stuff, right? So
Okay.
we had what was it? Avrex.
Okay, Pele Pele.
Pele, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Harlem definitely put it on when it came to dressing, right? So I appreciate that little world, right? So Nicole, tell me about real estate. What introduced you into real estate, man?
Well, what introduced me to real estate was a lot of people would tell me that I would do good into it.
Okay.
I was a stay-at-home mom and I was looking for a career to kind of get into,
Right.
and real estate was something I thought I could do. So
Okay.
I jumped into the real estate industry.
Thought you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Last I heard, you're doing just about 2 million a month, right?
Yes.
So how are you going? How are you going about that, making $2 million a month?
Well, I had to realize that, I had to give people a solution in the industry.
Right.
And unlike the average agent that usually typically sells home on the multi-listing service and sends you houses on the internet, I
Right.
give my clients exclusive off-market properties. So what that does, it puts them in a position where they don't have competition.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay, okay. So they're not competing against no one else but themselves.
No. And traditionally, when I came into real estate, my clients were officers, politicians, cops, and these people do not want the general public inside of their home.
Right, which makes sense. So back in our days, we weren't always friendly with that type of universe, and now we're helping them out get home ownership. So to that's a great blessing to be able to provide that, right? Because again, you're the only one with those exclusive listings, so it makes it that much easier for them to acquire this property. So wow, okay. So how did you get to that level providing that solution?
Well, I noticed that they had an issue as far as inventory because we know inventory is a problem, right?
Right.
So a lot of the times when you go on the internet, a lot of these homes are actually sold or pending,
Right.
or they hot, and the client is overbidding on the property.
Right.
So I did not want to do that for the buyers. I wanted to actually help them
Okay.
and finding properties. So I end up doing direct market targeting for my
Targeting,
clients.
okay.
So I would find sellers that meet their criterias and match them together, which it makes the seller feel comfortable because a lot of sellers do not actually want to deal with the public.
Yeah, I could believe that. Yeah, I could believe that because it's a different universe, right? When it comes to having conversations, like you said, some people are public about it. Some people just don't want to be bothered. They don't want that competition or anything like that. So the fact that you have those relationships has inquired to make the level where you're making this year, right? 2 million a month. So how was last year's market for you?
Well, last year market, I was kind of a little devastated because I ran the buyers program for our company.
Okay. What's the name of
And
your company, by the way?
Your home sold guaranteed best match real estate.
Okay, okay, that's what's up.
And last year, well, just to give you a little background information, I came in during COVID, right, in
Okay.
2020. And at that time, the business had to come to you. Legally, you couldn't call anyone.
Right.
You couldn't do the standard stuff that they was doing in the industry.
Right.
So I was out as a buyer's agent. And last year, my broker came to me and he said, I'm not going to have you dealing with the buyers anymore. I'm transitioning you over to sales. And I almost had like a meltdown.
Well, you were challenged, right? You were being challenged, right? You went from buyers to sellers, so that's a big deal. Most professionals prefer the listing part of the business, right? And you were like, you got into it because it was given to you because the pool of buyers you had. So I guess at that time it made sense for your broker to be like, yo, Nicole, let's go with the listing.
Right. And a lot of agents come into it. The reason why I was able to do so well is because a lot of agents actually look for a title in this industry. And they look to either be listing agents, buyer's agent, or they rental agents. And I don't look at the business like that. I look at the business as helping people
Right.
and giving them a solution. So whether it's a tenant for instance, I have tenants that come to me that don't even know that they have the ability to buy. And I would show them that they can buy a house.
Wow. So they walk in not knowing what they can afford potentially, but because of the value you provide, 3, 6, 9 months, they got a house, right?
Yes.
And I saw that on your social media platform, IG specifically, where you had a young man with his mother and you was able to provide them that value within weeks. And they were like, without Nicole, I couldn't find this.
3 days.
Oh, excuse weeks. I'm wrong. I apologize. 3 days.
Yes.
Hey, that's important, right? So share that story. Enlighten me on that story. Talk about that story for a second. Yeah. How was that process like?
So I had a client, they gave me a call and they let me know that they actually had a fire. And I wanted to help them, because the lady, she was older and the son, they was misplaced. They actually lived in their house for 18 years. So can you imagine not having a place to live and having to rely on other people to stay somewhere and then having to go to the shelter?
Oof, that's deep.
Right. So I wanted to make sure that I helped them to the best of my abilities, and I was able to secure them an apartment within 3 days. So again, I don't look at clients based off this person is a seller, this person is a buyer, this person is a tenant. I look at the situation and what can I do to help them, and this is why I make money in this industry.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy in a great way because of the fact that they were misplaced and they were able to find you and you provided that solution. And because of that, they're forever grateful. And to you, you're like, yo, this is what I do. This is what I love, right? So to your credit, to your credit, you've done what you've done. And I guess this is why you're averaging about $2 million a month, right?
Yes.
So you talk about, now you're on the listing side. What is ISA? So
background.
Okay.
I left my company actually for about 3 months, right?
Okay.
The industry, I went, I left, I got a job, and then I said, no, I can't do this, right?
Okay.
And I walked into my office that I'm currently at, and I came to bring a closing check.
Okay.
And one of my mentors pulled me in the room and said, why did you leave? And I didn't tell him I was leaving, right? And he said, what are you making right now? And at that time, I was only making $50,000.
In New York City?
$50,000. Well, it was $50,000, right?
Okay.
And he told me, you could do more.
Right.
Come back as your broker's assistant.
Okay.
So I said, assistant? He said, you're going to be his ISA. And I said, what is the ISA? Same thing you're asking. Mm-hmm. And it's an inside sales agent, right? And what the inside sales agent does is we handle the lead conversion, right? And when someone calls the company, you will get me, right?
Right.
And I will follow up with this client. And it's sort of like a doctor. I will prescribe to you exactly what you're looking for. Okay. So if you call me and you had a property that was on the market and it was expired, I would find out why was it expired, what is the solution that I can find out for this client. And a lot of the times in the industry, communication is a big problem, right? So here at our company, what we do is we give a communication guarantee, right?
Communication, I've never heard of this.
Right.
Okay.
We give a communication guarantee. And every time that I miss communication with you, right, I will pay you at the time of the closing.
Anytime we have a miscommunication with you, you're going to pay me at that time during closing.
Yes.
Whoa, that's big. That's big. Okay, let's go. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what the ISA job is to do. Okay. We do have a lot of unique selling propositions at our company. As far as I would guarantee a person that I will sell their property in 90 days at market value. Or if I don't, I'll pay you the difference at the time of the closing. So I give the sellers confidence in when they use us.
So let me ask you a question. I mean, there's a lot of guarantees. There's a lot of, I'm going to get you there. Has this system failed you yet?
No, that's why I'm averaging $2 million right now.
Well, I got to ask, right? Because I don't want, because I don't want folks to assume, I'm like, yo, dude, this is what it is. This is why you're here, because you have a template that works. It's for the reason you have a return on how you provide your value. So this is why I'm asking follow-up questions, because I want many to know that the stuff you're putting out there, it's legit. Like, I'm getting you to what you need, both buyer and seller. And at the same time, I'm showing you, like, this is where I'm at in life because I'm providing my value, right? So
Absolutely.
So that's why this is why I like to follow up, because sometimes when you lead some into, that world of she bugging, she's lying, I don't know. This is like, let's avoid the assumption. This is what you're doing. This is a template that works, and others in your company are doing the same thing to the success that you have today, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at the end of the day, if you place your house on the market and the
Right.
person gives you the correct comps, and we are telling you that this is the value of your property,
Right.
why wouldn't we sell it?
That kind of makes sense. Unfortunately, it doesn't always sound that way.
Well, yeah,
Right?
it doesn't, because sometimes people don't have the confidence to tell you that this number is not going to work.
Right.
You can't sell your house at this price. I can try.
Right.
I can try for you, and then I won't offer you that guarantee.
Right. So the word try doesn't manifest with you. The word is, I'm going to get it done.
Right.
So this is what it is. And also at the same time, you're managing the expectations.
Right.
Right. So this is why I have you here. You're representing New York State, you're New York City, but you cover many areas. But I see that you focus a little bit more on the Bronx, Westchester area. Not to say you don't do Brooklyn, Manhattan, you do them all, but I see your business has been in Westchester, Yonkers, Bronx. How has that been like?
You got to remember, my properties are off markets. So some of my properties you wouldn't even know I sold. I currently have a listing right now in Harlem for $1 million, 3-bedroom.
Let's talk about how Harlem has changed, man.
I sold properties in Staten Island. We also licensed in Connecticut as well.
Okay.
So again, it goes back to giving people exclusive. You think that right now, if the mayor of New Jersey sold his property, would he want it on the internet? And would he want me to tell everybody? No. He's going to hire an agent like me that has a database full of buyers that's waiting for him to buy his property.
Exclusivity. There you go. Let's talk about it, Nicole. I love how you position yourself for that, because you're right. Not everybody wants to be public. Many want to be private about what's going on with their transactions, especially an asset, right? You always want to protect that. So
they don't want their neighbors to know that they're selling. They don't want their family members. It might be divorce,
right.
Probate. So they don't. Everybody, everybody doesn't want them in their business, and everybody is not looking to sell their home, especially if someone has financial troubles. They don't want everybody to know what's going on. They want to do it quietly and privately, and I make sure I give them that.
You have that niche to that market.
I do.
There you go. All right, so Nicole, I saw you on what was that? I saw you with Charles Noonan, right?
Yes.
You was on the Land Bank show, right?
Yes.
You talked about how you were around many that were making $2 million a year. Mm-hmm. Can you expand on that a little bit? You mentioned Cardi B, like you and her were probably down the block from each other back in the days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And here you are now in real estate. Talk about that.
Well, it was a tough transition coming from Harlem.
Right.
We come from an urban community.
Right.
And I was around women that were making $2 to $3 million, and I didn't know what type of conversations to have with them. And it was a very confusing point in my career, and I had to learn how to transition into that world. Mm-hmm. And everything you do in life, you have to go learn that skill. And I'm thankful for those women now.
Okay, that's what's up. So for those who don't know, Charles Noonan is a heavy investor.
Yes.
Check him out. Google
Shout out
him.
to him.
Right.
Yes.
You guys have a great relationship, right?
We have a wonderful relationship. I'm currently actually has a university right now.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead, you can sign up. It's only $49 a month.
Okay.
And Charles has taught me a lot. So when it comes to real estate, I'm in the traditional space of real estate, right?
Okay.
And he's in the untraditional way of real estate. So I still go to him to ask him a lot of questions.
Right. He breaks down a lot of things when it comes to like urban communities where you can get a house or a lien.
Well, he
That's-
teaches you how to buy property for
right.
under $500.
Yeah, and credit to that, there's some success behind that. So I've never used it, so I'm not solidifying it. I'm just saying others, I see Voice of Reason through social platforms where he explains and he shows the winners and those who are getting based off his classes. So kudos
Yes.
to him on that one, right?
Yes, he's my mentor.
Oh, he's your mentor. I didn't know that part.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Wow, that's what's up. Walk me through your daily habits when you're in and out of real estate.
Well, I wake up
Okay.
around 4:30 every day.
Sound like me.
Right. Every day I wake up at 4:30 and I practice meditation.
Sound like me.
Yoga. I make
Right.
sure to drink water. I eat
Right.
fruits and I prepare my day on a positive note because we deal with the public,
Right.
right? And
Self-care is important.
right, we deal with the public and
Right.
you want to be polite, you want to have good energy, you want to come into it with a positive mindset. And so every single day before I go out, I make sure that I'm positive and give good energy.
Right. So you're managing your time when it comes to the deliverables you have to meet when it comes to this world of real estate.
Missing a lot of parties.
Yeah.
I miss a lot of parties, and studying.
Right.
I mean, I study a lot. Real estate to me, a lot of people, I used to play basketball. So I treat real estate like a sport, right?
Okay.
And you have to train.
Mhm.
You have to train for anything that you do.
Right.
And training is not always training when everyone else is watching.
That is
Training
true,
is
right.
when you're by yourself and you're educating yourself and you are elevating your mind
Right.
and your skills. I read a lot of books, and personally, these books say the same thing.
Right. Yeah, especially motivational parts, right? Yes, I
Yeah.
would agree with that.
But it reinforces you.
Right.
It reinforces you, and to me, you have to study, you have to train, and you have to evolve, and that's how you're going to get past in this industry.
Yeah, I would agree because, I say this all the time. In the world that we're in, every day is something exciting happening, right? So, Nicole, what excites you about what you do every day?
Just like I said, it's like a sport.
Right.
If I'm able to successfully get a client an offer, I scored.
Okay.
I just did a 3-pointer. That's how I see it as.
Okay.
It's an adrenaline rush for me
Okay.
to make sure that the client is happy, that I did a service, that I was able to help, whether it was helping a tenant find a place to live,
Right.
and you were happy. Because you have to think about it. Real estate is an essential business and is a part of everyone's dream.
Right.
Growing up, the first thing you think about, your parents, if you're a little girl, they buy you a dream house, right?
Right.
The boys too.
Right.
So I'm able to be a part of that and make you happy and transition you into a home, then I did my job for the day.
You said it best, right? You're doing your job for the day to provide a value for that client. 2-3 days ago, I was on, I saw Earn Your Leisure. Brother was talking about how, because the consumption of debt now with credit card and yada yada going on, some people are living way above their means. And he said something specifically like buying a house is something that you should want to attain, but you should be doing it in a responsible way, because the last thing you want to do is be check to check and solidifying a deal for one, which is yourself making money, but not fulfilling the client's request because they now can't afford to maintain that house. So how are you as a professional measuring those factors? Although you don't go into finances because that's not your role, but what kind of conversations do you have with your clients in terms of what does comfort look like when it comes to their monthly habits?
Well, when I speak to my client, even they may be approved for $800,000, but I have to figure out what's their budget and
Right.
what they're comfortable in paying. And if the time is not right for you to buy,
Right.
then I'm not going to encourage you to buy to make the sale, because I don't want to be the person to put you in and you call me and say you want to sell your property.
So your ethics are very important when it comes to real estate.
Well, I think my ethics is the reason why I keep on getting involved in business.
I like that. Well, it's important, right? Just because of the fact that, again, we see things happening. Some do it for transaction, some do it for love, and some do it for whatever. But from what we're talking about, I feel like the core is love for you, because at the end of the day, if you're giving your clients everything they have, that's when the referral piece starts to happen, right? They start referring friends and family, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, again, it builds to your portfolio, which you have today, right? So kudos to that. So that's a true testament of that.
Well, going the extra mile isn't Think and Grow Rich, right? When you go the extra mile for someone, it's going to come back to you.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a good line. I like that one. I gotta go back to record and replay that one. That's a good one. All right. So if you can go back, what would you tell Nicole from back in the days?
Get into real estate sooner.
Right. That's one of those conversations. If we would have known what was going on and what the power of a dollar can do to an asset, a lot of us would have been rich today, right?
I would have been rich a long time ago.
And it's crazy, right? Because, we come from those urban communities where we watch certain neighborhoods didn't have certain things, and some have come in and gentrified off what pennies on a dollar, and they've made, I want to say, over 10, 15 times returns on that investment. And it's crazy to feel like, wow, how come we didn't have these tools? So to your point, how important it is for you, and I see you've done a lot of workshops with financial literacy. I think it's one of the things that I've seen you take the anchor out. Your boss baby about it. Boss baby, boss lady about it. How is that? How have you seen that class grow?
Well, I think that the education has always been there. I think that social media has opened up doors that people haven't realized were already there.
Right.
Right? And you have to, the reason why these gentrifications are able to happen is because a lot of the times people are not attending
the free workshop seminars and so on they got going on.
Right.
So in other words, some make excuses of why they don't want to have what they have.
Right.
It's unfortunate. So to your point, right, I think it's important for many to understand that financial literacy is very important. Yes, you'll see some of the highlights, and yes, some are suffering because of whatever they got going on. But the fact is, if you have enough information in front of you, again, with Nicole and some of her mastermind classes, this will help you propel what home ownership looks like. So kudos to you again for elaborating on what does that look like for one getting into homes, right?
Right.
So on a lighter note, what's your favorite spot in Harlem?
Shark Bar.
Oh, I
Yes,
haven't been there in a
Shark
minute.
Bar. I know the owner.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. The last, is Sophie still there, right? I don't know. I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there anymore. That's how old I am. But
I am
used to
not
go to,
that old.
So we used to go to Sophie's, and then I know Marcus Emerson has his restaurant over there, right? How? What do you think about his food and everything?
His food is absolutely great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think anyone should go out there, try it on a Saturday.
Okay. And then so if you're not eating, you're not playing basketball,
Oh, I don't play basketball.
You don't do it
I'm
no
not
more?
messing up these nails.
Yeah.
I gotta have a good, when it's time for contract signing and stuff. Take my
She's setting the
clients.
nails with the contract. That's a
Or listing, no.
good. Not today.
No.
So when you're not doing anything like that, do you like to vacation? And if so, what's your favorite area? Your favorite part of the globe?
Maybe in 2 years I will vacation because
Maybe in 2 years.
Yeah, I am.
Help me understand this one.
No. I honestly, even when I do travel, I go for work retreats. I do not travel because I am one of those people that is not interested in leaving my clients. I can't afford it.
Wow. Okay, you have me stunned there because most people like to, express themselves through vacation. Sometimes you're like, no, the only way I'm doing it is through a retreat that fulfills my client needs.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
In a couple of years. Yeah.
And a couple. Okay, that's what it is. I guess you have goals,
I do.
and in order for it to happen, I'm pretty sure you're measuring every part of your business to make sure when I do vacation, I'm getting what I want.
Well, it goes back to the ISA and the OSAs and how we came up with that concept that your home sold guaranteed. One thing it is when a seller's looking to sell their home, they're not looking for a real estate agent. They are looking for a buyer, right? And they are not on your time. You're on their time. They hired you to do a job.
Right.
So calling me and me telling you, hey, I'm in Mexico is not what my clients wants to hear.
Hey, look, there's a reason why you are doing what you're doing, right? Because you're there whenever they need you. But to be fair,
I know everybody says
sometimes,
that.
yeah, you can do that from afar. I mean, we do have the on the line and the phones and all that good stuff. So.
Not yet.
I hear you.
Not
I
yet.
gotta respect it. Look, this is your journey. So in the end, if this is what satisfies your goals, your mindset, it's what it is, right? No, it can't be questioned. The fact is that this is who I am, and this is why I am doing what I'm doing. Again, going back to your numbers, like you said, a lot of your deals are off market, and to get to that level, you'd have to, a lot of sacrifices has been made, right? So
And provide a service that the average agent does not.
right. So
Right? A very professional service that they're looking for. And again, communication is one of the problems in the industry. So how do I just go somewhere? And a lot of the times when they hire you, they want you, even though I let them know that I do work with a team of agents. And if you go back to my interview with Charles Newman, you'll know that I don't do showings. I don't go out. I only go out for the first initial appointment.
wow. She got me stunned there. So you're just a unique professional that you have this niche, and that's what makes who you are today, right?
Right.
Gotta love it. So Nicole, if someone's looking for you, where can they find you?
They can find me at Your Home Sold Guaranteed, Best
Okay.
Match Real Estate at
Okay.
4627 White Plains Road in the Bronx. And my Instagram is Nicole Home Sold.
Okay. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on. Let's talk about it. I appreciate your time, and I love the way we met. You was aggressive with it a little bit, because but the strong woman that you are, I appreciate this, because this led to our this Let's Talk About It conversation today. So,
I mean, this is a male-dominated industry.
but you're gonna change that, right?
I know.
I love it. But again, thank you so much for coming on. Let's talk about it. Others, if you're looking for Jimmy Mortgage, let's talk about it. Nicole, again, we're on your favorite streaming platform, whether it be Apple, Spotify, wherever, however, just put in Let's Talk About It by Jimmy, and we'll pop up. And yeah, just like that, we're gonna have some fun with it. Thank you so much, Nicole, for your time.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, for having us.
No problem. Bye. Hey, listeners, are you looking to improve your home comfort and save on your energy bills? Let's talk about Seal Power. They've been awarded Energy Star Sustained Excellence Award, seen on Good Morning America, the New York Times, and World News. Seal Power is dedicated to keeping your home cozy while saving money. Check out their website for tips and incentives and more at CIELPOWER.com. Stay comfortable and save with Seal Power, where comfort meets efficiency. Follow them on Instagram for updates and more, and let's talk about it as well. Thank you.